What is the most productive time to wake up and get up and start working? For me, 6 a.m. But what about for you? Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Atomic Ambition. And we have another great book. We have Robin Sharma's The 5 a.m. Club. Now, for a lot of you, you might be thinking 5 a.m. And if you've read this book, you know this book is about getting up early in the morning and being more productive throughout the day. And the idea is the earlier you wake up, the earlier you get up, the earlier you can start being productive and the more productive you are throughout the day. It's a great idea. Personally, I tried 5 a.m. I tried setting my alarm to go off and wake me up at 5 a.m. And I failed miserably with 5 a.m. because honestly, it's just too early. Maybe it will work for some people. Maybe 4 a.m. might work for others as well. For me, 5 a.m. doesn't work. It's just too early. I don't feel awake or ready to start the day at 5 o'clock. For me, the perfect time to wake up, and this, even at weekends now, I wake up at 6 a.m., 6 o'clock. My alarm goes off at 6 a.m. I'm usually awake-ish anyway at 6. And it's a very natural time to start my day. And I find it suits my lifestyle. I find it suits my body clock quite well as well. When I was younger, I used to be a night owl. I used to, be staying up till 1, 2, 3 a.m. in the morning. No problem. To be honest, as you get older, perhaps not everyone feels the same, but as I've got older, I think staying up until 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, it sounds horrible. I don't think I want to do that anymore. I need a good 8 hours sleep. I'm getting up at 6. I'm usually in bed, fast asleep by about 10 o'clock. I get my 8 hours, and that suits my lifestyle really, really well. So I think from this, the big message about this is, and what we're going to talk about, is not waking up at 5 a.m. It's ridiculous, 5 a.m. I think, unless it works for you. But the core message for me in this book is all about creating habits that fit with your lifestyle, fit with your body clock, fit with your lifestyle, and fit with your aims and the things you want to achieve. And there's a whole section in here on creating habits. I'm trying to think what he calls it. He calls it... what does he call it now? There is a name. I can't remember. There's a specific name he gives to his habit creation routine. I wish I could remember, but I can't. But the habit creation routine is basically sort of split 3 ways. The first part of the routine is you actually have to destroy your old habits. And I think that is possibly the trickiest part, destroying your old habits, because your old habits, they have kind of become ingrained in your lifestyle. Your old habits are part of who you are, in a sense. So destroying your old habits is possibly the hardest thing to do. After you've destroyed your habits, then you're implementing, or I think he calls it installing, your new habits and your new routines. And then once you've done that, you're sort of working to you're working so that you don't have to work at your habits. They become the default afterwards. And it's about, Robin Sharma talks about you can create any new habit in 60 days, basically. So 20 days to destroy your old habits, 20 days to implement your new habits, and then 20 days of working at your habits to make them natural for you. Okay, so that's my key takeaway from the 5 a.m. club. It's not getting up at 5 a.m. You can get up at whatever time suits you best, whatever time works for you and your body clock. For me, 6 a.m. is perfect. But really, it's a great book if you want to change your habits. If you want to get rid of an old habit, something that's not working for you anymore, and start creating and implementing new habits. The ideas in that book are brilliant, I think. He's not the only person who's written a book about creating habits. Atomic Habits is another one. But that's the main thing I took from Robin Sharma's book, The 5 a.m. Club. If you want to give it a go, I highly recommend trying waking up early. 5 a.m. might seem a little bit crazy, and I honestly think 5 a.m. is a little bit crazy. But try it. Just give it a go. You never know. You might actually like waking up at 5 a.m. Personally, I don't. 6 a.m. is perfect. But if, like me in the past, you were a bit of a night owl, if you're waking up early, you also then have to adjust the time you go to bed. I need 8 hours. If I don't have 8 hours sleep, I am almost zombified in a sense. So let's say 7.5 to 8 hours, but I need that good quality sleep for that long period of time. There are some people who can maybe operate on 4, 5 or 6 hours sleep. I'm not one of those. So if you are getting up early, if you create a habit of waking up and getting up early, you also have to create the opposite habit of going to bed early as well. Yeah. I think for me particularly, it wasn't a struggle actually, but I think for a lot of people, one of the biggest struggles with doing this might be if you're in a family situation where there's other, husband, wife, but if they're on a different routine to you, like if you've been together for a long time, you probably develop the same routines. Getting up at the same time, going to bed at the same time, eating at the same time. Now, if you try and change your habits and your routine, but your partner, your husband or your wife, doesn't change their habits or routines, there might be a bit of an imbalance in your relationship. So for me, it didn't really... For me, it was okay because my wife and I, we did this together. We started creating this new sort of daily routine together. So it kind of worked okay for us. We started at 5. It didn't work for you. We were just grumpy with each other for a whole week. So we knew straight away it wasn't going to work. But we did it together, which is the great thing. I think if you're going to try something like this, you have to do it together with your partners. Otherwise, it might just cause... problems. It might cause more problems than it solves. So there you go. That's my big advice for you guys about the 5 a.m. Club. It was an interesting book. It's a self-help book, but it's actually written as a fictional story. I found it quite hard going, personally, if I'm honest. It wasn't the easiest self-help book to read, because I was kind of expecting something more academic in a sense, whereas this is more of fiction, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's my main takeaway from the book. I've only read it once. I'll be honest, I don't think I'm going to read it again. No, I couldn't. What I'm trying to do, as I mentioned when I started this podcast, I'm going through all of my books and I'm trying to read them again. This is the one book I couldn't force myself to open and read. I kind of skipped to the first page, but I just thought, you know what? This was such a hard book for me to get into in the first place. I'm just not going to try. I remember the habit forming section. That's what I've got from it. I remember the story of trying to wake up at 5 a.m. It didn't work. I would probably never read this book again, but if you haven't read it already, you should buy it and read it once. Okay? So there you go. That's my advice. Bye for now. See you all next week.